Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is me, your English language instructor, Muhammad Hasnain, once again with all of you people. Let me tell you a very interesting figure. Lots of people don't know about this as it's Pakistan, and Pakistan doesn't have that much awareness related to such topics. But World War II, as we all know, what was all this about? Who was the ideal behind all of this, and what are the principles that are left behind by the workings of World War II. Now let me tell you something very simple regarding World War II. It was a historical event that changed the whole world. It had to do with Hideyoshi, the emperor of Japan at the time, the USA president at the time, and also Hitler, Adolf Hitler, as we all know him. He is one of the biggest war crime assaulters, you can call him, one of the highest rated person in the world of crimes, one of the biggest or most influential people on the planet that the planet has ever seen, and quite a lot more. It had to do with a lot. At the moment, Russia and Germany were on par with each other. Russia was granted that we will give you round about we'll give you 3/4 of the whole country of Poland, and we'll take, Germany said we'll take and we'll get about 1/4 of it. Now what was so special about all this quarter perception at the time? Russia was a superpower. Russia was unstoppable and unbeatable at the time being. And what lots of people thought was Germany is nothing less than just a small country that has no perception, and that's what exactly Hitler thought. Hitler thought that if we try to attack directly at Poland, while we don't have that much armory or we don't have that much power in men, nor do we have that much power in atomic bombs, etc. At the time they weren't a big thing, but still, just for discussion. And we don't have power in technology either, so the biggest option with them was their neighboring country, which is Russia. Russia was actually not the biggest fan of Germany, but with such a great deal of getting the 3/4. That is like when you divide Poland by 4, 3 went towards Russia and 1 went towards Germany. Germany had no other plan rather than actually executing this. They weren't planning on getting Poland. They weren't doing it for getting or for earning or for getting the land of Poland for themselves. What they were doing it for was not to actually get the country, but rather to get something which is known as world domination. They wanted to dominate. What they felt was that every single time, whenever Germans did something, they were crushed and they were thrown away as if they didn't matter. And Hitler, using that influence and the current states and statistics of the country, he used that to his own advantage. And he created the perfect scenario when he manipulated, where he used and where he made people do such acts that would have never been done in the history. The biggest man in history, if you want to call it, the man that changed Earth in the face of it. The whole map had changed. The once USSR, Soviet Union as you want to call it, or USSR was left no more after the Second World War. USSR, the country we call Russia today, Russia was USSR or Soviet Union, no more. The Japan, if you remember the Japanese flag, it was way more different than the other flag that we know today. Japan, the target of malicious intent at the time, was gaining power at an alarming rate. With the leadership of such leaders of the world, the 4 big superpowers, Russia or Soviet Union as you want to call it, or the Nazis, or as we call them, the Germans, or at the time the Nazis that were supporting Hitler's thought and perception, they were a different party. And then the USA was one of the biggest characters in this whole world war perception. Adolf Hitler influenced people to do something, such a revolt that would never happen again. Let me give you an example. A teacher once told everybody that Adolf Hitler had created this cult-like appearance with him as a boss, or with him as a bossman type of person. But the point was, the students never believed him. The students said that how can those people be so dumb? He made an experiment. He went towards all the students, granting them that I will give you the freedom. You don't like school, I'll take you out from school. Support me and my thoughts, and together we'll stop the government from schools. The students started following him, and within a few weeks they were guarding him as if some sort of messiah. He had created a sign, just like Hitler had this sign, Hail Hitler sign. You guys know that. But he created a sign very simple and related to the Hitler sign. And he even himself created that cult-like appearance. And within a few weeks, there were more than thousands of followers of that cult. Within a few weeks, that's a very high statistic. Then they had to shut down the experiment for a reason. As you guys know, this cult-like thing could have bad effects on students. But this is just an example. World War II was one of the biggest changes. And who was Hitler? An illiterate man that conquered Europe on his own, alone. He was backstabbed by his army, by his people, and that was the reason he had fallen down from the throne of the world, as you may. The superpower, the one that was to conquer everything. Germany had the potential to conquer every single part of that. As much as Russia, as much as USA, or as much as Japan had the power to do all of that. In the same time, Germany had the power too. And with the influence of Adolf Hitler, they were actually controlling more than just German people. People that were actually being stopped and being suffocated underneath the governments or etc. They pulled them in. Any country that they saw worthy of their companionship, they pulled them in, and they used that opportunity to the finest and to the best. Yet it was the backstabbing that got the best out of him, and he lost the war and he committed suicide, quote unquote. I'm not saying that it's a true fact. Quote unquote, people say that he committed suicide. It's an interesting story to listen to. I would like to say a lot more, but due to restrictions and demonetization problems, I won't say anything else related to that. But he was one of the most cunning and clever and sly man the planet has ever seen. And I won't say anything else. If you guys are interested, I can make a whole documentary about that. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.